Yo, what up? Back with another edition of RPT, Real Prison Talk with Wes. And I still got sleep all over my face. I'm just now waking up. Keep it a buck with you. I ain't even get my grill right. But this is something that I had to address because more than one of my subscribers had asked me to touch on this issue. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I'm just going to spend maybe a couple minutes addressing the issue about inmates starting relationships with DOC staff. Yes, it happens. Not as much as inmates probably would like for it to happen, because it's never happened to me. I'm never that lucky. I'm always the guy that knows the guy that's in a relationship with the CO or the medical staff, or even worse, when I get there, there was like a situation going on that I just missed, Prime example, the last maximum security that I was in was MacDougal. And right before I got there, there was a lady, a DOC correction officer, and they called her Big Red. And my cellie, the dude who I moved in and lived with for a few years, he was there to witness Big Red and her fiasco. And of course, right before I got there, the whole thing unfolded. She got walked out and, everything blew up. But what happened was, she would pop out whoever she want to pop out. Because remember, we're in a maximum security, so it's not a dorm. We're in cells. I'm trying to just set the setting right quick. We're all in cells. You can't get out of your cell unless the officer pops you out of your cell. When she popped you out, there was a room that they call the quiet room. The quiet room is the room for inmates to do their legal work. You could go get the typewriter, and you can go in the quiet room and type up your legal work, whatever dispositions, whatever you got to do, that's what the quiet room is for, legally. It was right next to the day room, adjacent to the day room, but right next to the bubble. For those that don't understand the lingo, the bubble is the area where the correction officers sit to watch us. It's like a little office area. It's closed in so that they're safe from the inmates. And when they're not doing their tour and walking around, making sure that everybody's safe in their cells and everybody's alive and well, they're sitting in the bubble. They have the intercom there. They can say what they want to say on the intercom. But right next to the bubble is the quiet room. So the quiet room, there is no visual access from the quiet room to the day room or any other rooms except the bubble. So there's a window where only the inmate that's in the quiet room and the officer that's in the bubble can interact with each other with. What this officer would do, called herself Big Red. I never met the lady. I'm pretty sure she's a beautiful young lady, but I never met her. She was a larger woman, and she wore this fire red hair. She always dyed her hair red. She was I think she was a Caucasian or Spanish. She was very pale color. I don't know what her nationality was. What she would do is she would flash inmates, the ones that she was comfortable with. She would let them come in the quiet room. I don't know what she got out of this, but I guess it was just her. She was very promiscuous. She would show guys pictures in her phone that she took for them. There would be provocative, promiscuous pictures in her phone. She showed guys. A couple guys said she flashed them a couple times. And that went on until, somebody got mad and told on her. That's usually what happens, And it's usually that inmate that's not getting popped into the quiet room to get flashed and get whatever perks that these other guys are getting. He's usually the one that runs back and writes that anonymous note to the warden. We call them kites in jail. But he writes that anonymous kite to the warden or the lieutenant or whoever he feels needs to know about this. And I guess after their investigation, finding out that the kites was valid and Big Red was doing these things, she lost her job. She got walked out of there, I didn't witness this myself, But it's like when I got to that jail, every inmate in that block, she had just left. So that was like the talk, you know. I'm never that lucky. I never was in a relationship with a inmate or anything crazy like that. I don't ever get that lucky. I'm always the guy that know the guy, you know. My cellie or one of my homies or something is in a relationship. Like, but I've never done it. Me personally, I guess I'm just not that good looking. I guess I don't know what it is, but I know for a fact it happens. You know, it doesn't happen as often as we probably would like it to happen, but it happens. You know. But with that being said, there was a very close friend of mine that was in a relationship. I have two stories actually, and I'm going to wrap this up real quick. One was a lifer that I got very close with. Me and my boy, we were very close. And then somehow he got into the nursing staff. This wasn't even a correction officer. This was the nursing staff. Got into her head, and see, a lot of these young women that get these jobs, they're young, you know, fresh out of whatever training or whatever they give them, and they're all wide-eyed, and then they get in with these hardened criminals that been manipulating the system and manipulating people for years, and they're not really prepared, you know. So these guys get in their head like he did, and he had this girl bringing stuff in for him, and I mean, he eventually got caught because she was putting videos on his, they give us Nintendo 3DSs. It's a video game they give us. But in the world, this video game can hold pictures, videos. In jail, they modify it. You're not supposed to be taking pictures. You're not supposed to have no videos. All you can do is play the game. But, of course, if you could get it to somebody on the outside, they can put a memory card in it. Whatever she did, he had videos and pictures and naked pictures and naked videos in his phone. And, of course, just like everybody else, somebody told, and that's how he went down, you know. Running his mouth, he told somebody, showed the wrong person. I know he showed, because he showed me, you know, and I told him, don't be running around showing people, bro. Showed the wrong person. He got sent to the box. Young lady got walked off. It's usually how it is. There's no happy endings, no fairy tale ending. Well, I do know one guy actually came home and got married to this officer that he was dating. I think he's played it smart. They weren't dating. He was just talking to her, kept it cordial, his whole bid. And when he came home, he found her, they connected, he got married. Beautiful story. On the flip side of that, I had a cellie who was dating an officer. And when we would come out for rec, she would tell him, like, yo, after everybody lock up, you stay out. And they would go in, like, supply closets and whatever little room they could find privacy in and do them. And this is my cellie, so he would come back. You know, I've been in jail for quite a substantial amount of time at the time. So he'd come back with the whole smell my finger thing, and, you know, he's bragging and he's happy, you know. His whole fiasco unfolded because the guy just couldn't control his emotions. And I guess there was another CO. The young lady was a very attractive, beautiful young lady. So not only is inmates trying to get at her, she got other coworkers that's trying to holler at her too. So I guess there was another officer that used to work her shift, and he was real persistent about getting this girl. And she really liked my cellmate. So she would share information with my cellmate about this guy and the things he do. And I guess my cellie, his emotions got so wrapped up into the woman that he actually approached the dude. I guess she told him that the officer had crossed the line one time and touched her inappropriately. So she came and told my cellie. He approaches the officer and tells the officer, hey, man, keep your hands to yourself. So that kind of like blew it up, because the officer's like, wait a minute, like, what do you even care? Like, so anybody could see like his emotional attachment. He's ready to fight with this officer over this other female officer. That kind of like blew it up, and just like every situation, she ended up getting walked out of there. I had a friend. I never dated anybody. I had a friend that, because we were both I'm from Harlem, New York, and out here in Connecticut, in these Connecticut prisons. And she was from Harlem, New York. So because we were both from Harlem, we would connect and we would talk about Harlem stuff. And I think one time, like, the subject arose about inmates and COs dealing with each other. And I even told her, I said, if an inmate really cares about a CO, he wouldn't put her in that predicament. I said, you would be stupid because you got a pretty good job. So you would be stupid to risk it for one of these guys in here who's probably running game on plenty females and, doing what guys in jail do. And I'm pretty sure they probably tell you this. They have to give you some type of training before you come in. But me and her used to talk about it, and I used to tell her, I don't know if she was getting so close to me to where it could have got there, but I let her know, like, hey, I think you're pretty cool, and I wouldn't even allow anybody that I consider myself friends with to throw their future away, to throw their career away, or even to throw away their livelihood behind something that's not worth it. And I'm talking about myself. I'm like, I don't even think that I'm worth it. I don't think I'm worth you throwing away your livelihood. So before it even got to that, it never got to that, But it happens a lot, It happens with the nursing staff. And these females, they know what they're doing. That's why they come to work with this. They all have to wear a uniform. But some of them like to wear theirs maybe a little tighter. The shirt might not be buttoned all the way up so that we could see a little bit of cleavage. And you around guys that's been deprived of females for so long, So they attract to that. Some females come in there looking for that attention. The majority of them don't. But it does happen, And I'm just going to leave it at that. On that note, I'm going to end this, because I have to get myself ready so I can get out of here and get to work. If you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Please support the channel any way you can. Somebody just asked me why don't I put my Cash App up. I did do a video explaining that my Cash App is the only way that I have for people to support the channel. And the cash tag is $031BWest. And it'll be attached under the name George Smith. And on that note, peace.